Hi everyone, welcome to Power BI Playbook. Today I'm going to show you how to create or how to generate random or dynamic bar chart colors for the bars using Power BI DAX. So let's see how we can do that. So as the outcome, so this is the bar chart. So what I want is, let's say every time if I refresh, the bar chart color has to be changed. So like that. So bar chart, each of these bars has to generate a random color. So that is what we are going to achieve today. So in here, I use a very small data set. So my data set has country, month, and sales. So now I'm going to add a bar chart to this one. So I add a bar chart and then we'll see the default functionality of it. So let's say I add countries to y-axis and then sales values to x-axis. So this is how usually a bar chart looks like. I want to generate random colors to these bars. The usual way of doing it, I mean the typical way, without using the DAX, or you can directly select this one and then go to format and then format visual and then go to bar, and then you can in the conditional formatting you can set a function. So you can set a rule to sum of sales and not rule, so let's say gradient sum of sales, right? And then lowest one you can set it to red, and then this one highest value you can set it to somewhere around green, right? So then it changes the color as a gradient. But we want is to have a random colors to be generated when we refresh the data. Let's see how we can do that. Step one is I need to create a table, right? So that should have unique country names. So first for that, I will say table color, and then I use summarize one, and then here I would say sheet one table, and I want to have the colors, sorry, country as the column. So if I do that, if you summarize, then your table, new table looks like this. Here, USA country like that. Now it's more the complex part. Now for each of these country, I want to generate a random number. For that, random hexa value which represent the color, right? So for that, I create a new column, right? So then I will say random color hex value. So then uh, I need to generate 6 variable var random number one. So for that, there's a DAX I use rand between. So then I need to give 0 and 255, right? So like that, I want to generate 6 random numbers like this. So this just generate a random number. Usually hexa numbers looks like this, right? So then next I want to generate each value for this hexa positions, right? So for that I use var, another variables will be defined, hex color position 0, like that. So then how to get it? So then I use mod. This will give the remainder of the division of a number. So you can search it in the internet, right? And then I get the random number 1 variable, and then I divide it by divisor, I went the 16. So then it will give a number between 0 to 15, right? So that is a number we get out of this, 0 to 15, like that. So each and every 6 position I need to generate this. Then the most interesting part, so I create a very temporary sort of table here, right? So I set it var hex table, right? First I add the columns. So first initially I add all these 6 columns, 6 rows. So I add these rows, column, right? So usually once I add these rows, it looks like this. I'll share a small screenshot here. So basically there's no any column header, so just value, and then the generated 6 numbers, basically the number will be out of 0 to 15 range. So this is what it generates from this DAX. Okay, now I create another column called hex, right? And for that, I use switch function. So first I give the value which is comes from the table, the previous value, this one I shared, right? And then if this value is 10, I want to set it as A, right? If the value is 11, I want to set it as B, because hexa numbers can have English English letters as well, A to F, right? So that is what I'm trying to make now. 12, I want to make it C. Then 13, I want to make it D. 14, 13, 12, sorry, here 13, and then D 14, and E is 15. Sorry, yeah, A, 10 is A, 11 is B, 12 is C, 13 is D, 14 is E, 15 is F, right? And then if it is not, then I set the value. If it is the number is 0 to 1, then the value will return as it is, because hexa numbers has values as well, 0 to 9, right? Then I close the switch and then close the table as well, right? Once we write this table, we expect something like this, value and then the hex value. So if it is larger to 10, it will give the English letter. If it is below 10, like 2, it gives the letter itself. So this is the temporary table we generate as this hexa table. Okay, now comes the returning part. So we need to return this. We call return. Now we need to uh, return the exact hexa value for the country itself. And then we should set a DAX call concatenate text, and then we can use the table, the temporary table we can use here, and then value expression and delimiter, right? So this is the value we return as a hexa value. This will be a random number. There's a small mistake, so I have repeated this one, so I remove this one, right? Right, so now our complex column has been created. Now if we see the this one, the newly created table, so as you can see, the newly generated hexa values, the color codes are being created in a more random way. So if we refresh the data set, so it will refresh the data as well here. So let's see how this can be connected to the bar chart. First, I want to set a connection between these two tables. For that, I come here and then I add a relationship, new relationship. So I would say table this one, country, to table this one, country, right? So when to one relation. So I first add the relationship, right? The relationship is created now. Now with that, so this color value, I want to get it to the fact table. For that, I create a new column, right? I use, I say color. I use related text, and then I would say this one, right? So then if we go to the data set, as you can see, the random generated color also added to the fact table. Now we want to set that to this table's conditional formatting, but when it comes to the columns, we can directly add it to the formatting. For that, because of that, we need to create a measure. So we create a simple measure called color code, and then we use first non-blank uh, text, right? And then I use the newly created color code here and expression set it as 0. Now select the table and go to format and then go to bars and function again, right? So then here I select field value and then here I select the newly created color code measure to this and set it OK. As you can see now, this has been generated more like a random value. So then if I refresh the data, the colors will be changing, right? Interesting, right? So this is how we create random colors, generate random colors to a bar chart, and we can use this method for any other visuals as well. Thank you for watching and keep in touch for more interesting videos in Power BI. Thank you.